should go to that thing right there, because that's how it's been set up in the past.
Well,
Okay, it says it's recording.
Okay.
get my mindset
So,
right,
okay.
or like-
Now, can I pause it for a second?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we're at Everest Base Camp, kind of final meeting, collecting final payments and going over last minute details like itinerary, equipment, fundraising, prayer requests, just you name it. We're going to talk about every last little thing that people may have questions about. So the one thing, the one thing that's changed a little bit is, so I had a 1 hour WhatsApp, which is kind of like FaceTime with Bishwa in Nepal a few nights ago. And he suggested that we not spend 2 nights in Kathmandu before we go on the hike. He said hardly anybody ever does that, and our flight comes in early enough, 11:30 or something like that on Turkish, that we should just go the next day. So come in and rest, probably have lunch at the hotel. We're going to be staying at the Himalaya Hotel or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it. I should have put it on here, but I didn't. Same one I've stayed at twice. It's really nice. And we'll keep our luggage there that we don't take on the hike. So don't worry about, what do I do with my luggage? They'll store it for us while we're on the hike. So anyway, he said, just, get a good night's sleep as best as you can. There'll be some jet lag issues. Maybe take some Ambien or something like that to help, knock you out. And then we'll get an early flight, an early start. He wants to be on the first plane in, so that if we, get to the airport maybe at 7 a.m. and get started on the hike. And you can see the first day is 3 to 4 hours. The Phak Ding, 9186 is Lukla. And then we actually end up at 8,700 feet. So,
and what's Kathmandu?
Kathmandu is like, I looked it up. It was like 3,300 or 3,600 or something like that.
Cakewalk.
Yeah, cakewalk, right? So, we're not starting off. We're starting off a little high, but it's not as high as we were at, Colorado here a weekend ago. I mean, that was 10,200. So we're 1,000 feet below that. And we'll have already been at 3,300 or 36, whatever it is for a night. And then we're going to be going mostly downhill. And I'll just tell you right now, the early part of the hike is just a lot of rock. And I don't mean like, jumbled up, very flat rocks, but still rock. So I'm going to have my trekking poles with me for sure the first couple of days, because the first day, when I went by myself last year, man, my right knee started killing me and I just was popping a leave. And the second day it still hurt. I thought, oh man, I'm going to be miserable this whole thing. But by the end of the second day, in the morning of the third day, my knee was fine. But it was just a lot of down and on a lot of rock. And as you go further along this trip, it's going to be more of a trail. But every time you go through a village, it'll be those flat pavers again everywhere. So there's always going to be some hard rock you're walking on. It's not always going to be soft soil, soft pebbly soil or anything like that. So by doing this a day early on the hike, we'll actually have 2 full days in Kathmandu at the end. So if anybody wanted to change their schedule, they could, but this is going to allow us a full rest day and then a whole day to see Kathmandu. And twice I've been to Kathmandu and I haven't seen it really. So I'm kind of looking forward to spending some more relaxed time at the end. You're well over jet lag, you're celebrating because you're done with the hike and you can really enjoy yourself. So anyway, if that's okay with everybody, then we'll proceed as
Can I ask a question about that? First of all, I like the idea of getting going early.
Yeah, okay.
I was hoping for a little bit different itinerary change and just talking through it.
Yep.
You've been twice. Twice you've talked about doing the
Kalapatar.
Yeah, the extra hike to see Everest at
Sunset, yeah.
Which you haven't done twice because you do it after your longest hike, and then you go and do another 4 hours to get to do that, and nobody's been able to do it. Would it be possible to spend the extra day there?
Yeah.
And then be able to get to see that extra hike, and then rather than spending 2 days in Kathmandu.
Yeah.
Make sure we get that really cool hike done and spend the extra night in the middle there.
Right. I mean, it's possible. We'll just have to figure out something else for Jason then, because he has to be back. I'll tell you, we'll talk about it with Bishwa certainly when we get there, but if not before. I know what you're saying. So spend 2 nights at Gorup Shep instead of 1. The way the plan is now, you hike the 6 to 7 hours to Gorup Shep, and then have lunch, rest, and then it's a late afternoon trek up Kalapatar to see the view.
Which is how long?
3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, it's probably
1 way or 2 nights?
Well,
ways.
so, I mean, it's gonna look something like that. That's Everest.
Right.
Okay, so that's kind of what it's gonna look like, but we're gonna be over here. So here's Everest Base Camp. So here's Gorup Shep. Okay, so we would hike up to some viewpoint here. I think that's considered the viewpoint for this. I'm not sure. It's either that or over here. And then you go back down and sleep the night there, and then go to Everest Base Camp. And it's really, that looks long, but it's not that long. It's maybe 3 hours.
But you're over 2 doing it, right?
You're what? Well, the first year we had just too many people with altitude sickness that weren't taking their Diamox. That's why I want to emphasize in this meeting that we need to be taking our Diamox. I would take it even as a precaution rather than wait till you start having headaches. And then last year when I went a month early, and the monsoons lasted longer, and so it was just too cloudy. There was no point in doing it.
Okay.
That was the only reason. Those 2 reasons. Otherwise, I would have done it both years.
Okay.
So I think we're going to be okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if the weather's bad, we just won't get to do it. So that's the biggest unknown, is what the weather's going to be like. Okay. Any other questions about this? Now, there may be some ministry opportunities also those 2 days that we have. I'm going to talk to Bishwa about that. He's a pastor. We may be able to meet with some of his church leaders or one of his congregations or something like that, and encourage them and maybe hear what their prayer needs are and pray for them. And we'll see. Now, when Jason goes back, so at the end here, helicopter to Lukla. So this is November 10th. So we do our final Everest Base Camp, then we helicopter to Lukla, and we'll also get views of Everest then, but it won't be on the sunset type of view. Then we overnight in Lukla. Well, Jason will go on. He'll get on the plane and go back to Kathmandu, and he's going to have a one-on-one with Bishwa. I've got that set up, a dinner or something like that, which is going to be good. You got 2 pastors being able to talk about, compare ministry notes and that sort of thing. Bishwa is a big church planter. And he's planted, like him and the people that have started churches that have also planted. So like 2nd, 3rd generation church plants, they've done over 200 church plants in Nepal. So that's his love, is church planting and growing the church through that means. So I'm kind of excited about them getting together. We'll have a farewell dinner for sure, with the whole group and with him, with Bishwa and his wife, Ramila. And I can't think of anything else other than Jason told me if anybody wants to get back sooner, in other words, still leave according to the schedule, he told me that for him, $250, he could fly instead of the long layover in Istanbul. He said he got a flight on Turkish from Istanbul to Mexico City, and then Mexico City to Houston, and it gets you back quite a few hours earlier. I'm going to talk to Brian, our travel agent, about that and see if that's a possibility. If it is, and what the cost would be, I'll let everybody know in an email, because I'm curious about that too. Otherwise, I think we're getting in. Yeah, we get in at 6:30 p.m. and then we don't leave until 2:30 the next day. So it's a really long layover. That's like, I think that's 18 hours or 20. It's like a 20-hour layover in Istanbul. Though, I mean, Istanbul is a really cool city. It might be a way to go out and see a little bit of the city during that time, especially in the evening. It might be kind of cool to go out in the evening, have dinner somewhere, and then come back and figure out how we're going to sleep in the airport.
Mike, I don't mind you sharing the itinerary that he sent up Meredith and I, because Meredith and I, my daughter and I are going to spend, I don't know, 3 or 4 days.
Okay. Now, do I have that itinerary, or can you forward it to me?
I can forward.
Okay, why don't you forward that to me? I'll let everybody know what you guys are doing. And maybe I know the Tallies want to stay in Istanbul for a couple extra days.
Maybe we're doing something. Lisa told me something in Colorado.
Hagia Sophia, catacombs, and the Blue Mosque.
And we're going to fly down
We'll do the
to
3
Ephesus.
stages.
You're gonna what?
We're going to fly down, do a day trip down to Ephesus.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah, right.
highly worth it. Man, if you could pull that off,
Well, I've been, and Meredith said, Ben, you've been, but I,
Yeah.
you know, I haven't, so anyway.
and you've been to Istanbul, right?
I've been to Istanbul, and
If-
I've also been to Ephesus.
Yeah, at Ephesus. I've been to Ephesus twice, Istanbul twice. It's
Yeah.
I love those
All right, so I'll
areas.
send it to you.
Okay, thank you. I'll let everybody know what you guys are doing and we'll see. Any other questions about the itinerary? You know, just like any trip, any of these clean water climb trips we go, especially international, we always have to be flexible because stuff can happen.
Have you figured out if we get to do single rooms or double rooms?
Okay, so we're doing double rooms, and that's a good question because that was on my itinerary. And if you want a single room, I don't know about on the trek itself. It just depends on how crowded it is. If it's not that crowded, oftentimes they'll just give you your own room without any extra cost. But in the Himalaya hotel, I know there's an extra cost if you want your own room. And this is kind of how I put everybody together based on who I know, right? And I have Paul and Meredith sharing a room.
Fine.
Obviously Kevin and Lisa, Mike and Gail. And then Terry, I was gonna put you with Desiree. Okay, she's, yeah, wonderful lady. You guys will click right away. David, I'll put you with Garrett. All right. And Keith, you and me. And then Jason would have, he's the odd man out. He'll have his own room. Now, if you want your own room, and I don't mind having my own room, just let me know and we can let them know.
Okay.
So it's up to you. It saves a little money. I think I don't actually know what the extra cost is, but you know, usually on single occupancy is what it's like, somewhere between 25 and 50% more, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyways, is that a deal for everybody? David, you're okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Let's see, what else was I gonna say?
I have a question, and that is, these trek hours you have, are
Mhm.
those pretty well accurate, or are those just,
Pretty close.
yeah, so
Yep.
that takes into consideration people who are slower that, and the group
Yeah.
normally stays together.
Yeah, generally, I mean, we'll probably string out a little bit, kind of like on Killy, but this also includes lunch stops. So, you know, we're gonna have breakfast in the tea house, and then we're gonna hike it 2 or 3 hours or whatever, have lunch in another tea house, and then keep going to our final destination, have dinner. So, you know, there's not gonna be, you can bring snacks. I mean, I would encourage bringing some snacks, but you don't, you know, there's gonna be stops, you know, along the way.
So when it says, 3 to 4 hours, trek 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
That does not include lunchtime, or not include stop time, is it 3 to 4 hours of actual trekking, but it may be 5 or 6 hours?
It could be a little longer than that with the stop. Yeah. yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's an estimate. So what I want your assignment for this trip is
Pardon?
if your assignment for this trip is each day, I want you to start a stopwatch. And then when we get to the final destination, record that for me. I would love to know the actual time that we spend,
Okay.
including the lunch break in the middle.
John's watch is probably smart enough.
yeah, I think John's, OC enough to do it.
John
I'm-
Laskowski? Which,
Yeah, it's in Colorado.
yeah, but he's not going on this trip.
Oh, he's not?
No,
Oh.
I was trying to talk him into it, but
Never mind.
no.
He had to-
I'm pulling up a lot of elevation. 9,100, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a,
711 to.
yeah, that's a pretty strong day. That's why it's up to 6 hours there. But you're still not that high, you know. I mean, even when you think, okay, 11,000,
It's almost.
11,280, that's still 3,000 feet than the Colorado 14er, right? Yeah.
I'm trying to get an idea of what the pace is going to be.
With the what?
It's whatever pace. I don't, first of all, I don't want you to go fast. Second of all, go as slow as you need to. Nobody's gonna get left behind.
I'm just like for training purposes. I mean, I'm doing cardio running and other things, but. I'm
You won't be doing
also
it.
On my treadmill with incline set, walking with my backpack and my hiking boots. So I'm trying to figure out if I'm walking fast enough.
You are. Yeah, I mean, for training purposes, do you have a way to measure your heart rate?
Yep.
Okay, so what is your resting heart rate?
My resting heart rate is usually like 62.
Oh, that's really good. And so what are you training at?
Well, I rarely, on the treadmill, I rarely get into 80% of my heart rate, so I'm usually around.
Give me 80% of your max. What's your max heart rate?
183.
Yeah, that's, yeah, so 80% of that would be 88, 61, 8, 154?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're training in the 140s even, that's great. I think you're training just fine. Because you're similar to me. I mean, my resting heart rate's a little higher. My max heart rate's like 193. And if I get on my bicycle and really, go after it, I mean, I've hit 180 on my bicycle, but I don't do that as much anymore. I try to just, if I'm topping out in the low 160s, I'm real happy. But most of the time, if I'm in the 140s, I'm real happy with the training. So if you're doing that, if you're in the 140s, 130s to 150s, you're going to be fine. That's good training. Don't worry about the speed, though. Like I said, and I mean, if I showed you some clips from our last Kilimanjaro trip, you'd say you're never going to get there at that pace. It's like. Now, I think we go a little quicker than that here because we're not going as high as Kili, but it's really, if you're feeling comfortable at the pace the group's doing, then just stick with it. But if it's too fast for you, just slow down a little bit, and we'll just make sure there's always going to be a guide behind. Nobody ever gets left behind. So don't worry about that. In 2017, we had a lady who had never camped or hiked or anything in her entire life. And I told her, Latricia, don't worry about tomorrow. Today is enough trouble of its own, right? Quoting Jesus. And I said, just get to camp today, even if it's 2 hours after everybody else. Don't worry about it. Don't think about summit in 5 days or 6 days from now. Just focus on today. Tomorrow is enough trouble. So, and it worked. I mean, she'd come into I still remember coming into day 2. She came in like 2 hours after everybody else with a guide. And she goes, day 2, check. She took it to heart to focus on just getting to camp that day. And she did fine. She made it all the way to the top of Kilimanjaro. So I wouldn't worry too much about pace. It's not like we're gonna.
So we'll be strung out.
Yeah, we'll be strung out, and it's not a race. Yeah. No, it's not a race, at all. It's not. It shouldn't be a race. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't take it that way. I want you to enjoy the beauty of the mountains. If you're like, if we're like so focused on getting there super fast, first of all, we're all going to get altitude sickness, number one, and so we won't make it. And number two, we're gonna miss the beauty around us. Stop, take lots of pictures and videos. I want everybody to be thinking about that. That's a cool shot, or that's a cool little video of those people going. Or maybe somebody behind you, part of the team, get a little video of them going by you. That kind of stuff would be great to put into a final team video at the end of the trip.
I was just I didn't realize that there was someone at the back of
Yeah.
the pack that
Yeah.
it's like the caboose for us, and that I don't have
Yep.
to try to keep up with everybody
Nope.
else.
Nope.
Well, it's also important, interesting that we don't all have to stay for that.
I was always at that.
We don't have to what?
Say
I was
it's
Same as a
following
group.
everybody.
So
No.
if I fall behind,
No.
I'm not keeping everybody else.
No, you're not. You're not.
Normally I'm competitive and I would want to be at the front of the pack, but on this occasion,
No,
I'll
no.
be fine.
Yeah.
Just making it one bit in front of
Just
the
stick with Desiree, or stick with Mike and Gail, or they did a nice even pace the whole
Okay.
time. So equipment list. The only thing I've changed on that, and I'm not sure why this is, but last year when I did it, I put my sleeping bag, I got in my sleeping bag, and then I pulled the cover over the first night in the tea house, and I was so hot. I thought, I don't even need to be in the sleeping bag. So I put the sleeping bag on the bed, laid on top of the sleeping bag, and just pulled the cover over me. And I ended up doing it all the way to the top. And I contacted Beachway. I said, well, you don't really need a sleeping bag. Those blankets are, they're like this thick, and you got pillows. So I was to the point, well, why should I make people go out and buy sleeping bags if we don't really need them? But Mike contacted me and he said, Mike, can we, when we get to Gorb Shep, can we be at a higher level? Because it was kind of damp in the lower part of that Gorb Shep tea house. So I mentioned that to Bishwa when I had my long WhatsApp video with him. And he said the upper two camps, which are Gorb Shep and Lobuche, things just tend to be damp. And if you do have a sleeping bag, you're going to be able to avoid that more than if you just use the current blanket that's on the bed. So that's why on this this list of equipment here, I went ahead and moved it from not required to required. So I think everybody should bring, it doesn't have to be this massive 0-degree bag or anything like that, just whatever I put on there. 17 degree is what he had recommended the first year I went. So we've kind of gone back and forth on the sleeping bag thing, but at the end of the day, he's saying so I may not even use it the first few days. I may just, either lay on it or just leave it in my duffel bag. Minus 10 degrees centigrade, which is about 14 degrees, is what was recommended to me. The one that I have, Western Mountaineering, is a 20 degree, which is fine. Plenty warm. And again, they give you this big, thick blanket. So I wanted to mention that. I meant to look up the fundraising and let you know how we're doing. Hold on one second. Up here. We're doing good. So I'm part of what they call multiple mountain teams. So yeah, it's hard to put you on several teams and figure out, okay, how much went to that effort versus that. So I'm just on, so same thing with the tally. So those that are just kind of on, this team, we are at $23,870, which is great. I mean, that's our goal as individuals. If you add up everybody's individual goal is 30,000. So we're almost at 24,000. We're like 6,000 from reaching the team goal. So that's awesome. You guys are doing great. We have like 5 weeks left. And I'm just going to suggest, push a little bit on that. And, if you go to the Clean Water Climb website, there are things out there, photos and stuff like that on the fundraising side of things that you can download and use to put on Facebook or whatever. I would use Facebook, as we're getting closer, maybe once a week, put a Facebook post out, maybe 2 more email blasts, one in the next week or so, and then one maybe a week before we go. And that would be my recommendation. And let people know, hey, thank you so much for donating. I remind people you're paying for all your own expenses. 100% goes to Child Legacy. And if you're still considering maybe helping me reach my goal, then here's my link. Basic stuff like that. There's a map on the website if you want to send people the map of what Child Legacy's done since 2008. Very powerful imagery there. And also on the website is a sample well report. You may have somebody out there that, I'd love to sponsor a well for $1,250. You can send them or you can print out a well report. I think the well report and this are probably the 2 most powerful visuals for people to, get their attention. And telling people, that you're paying for your own trip. Okay. So fundraising is going good. Does anybody have any questions about that? You're looking for some ideas or whatever. Any thoughts? Any questions?
I did mine on a physical letter. It seems to be working pretty well.
Yeah, the physical letters are a really good idea. I know it's a little more effort, costs a little bit. You got to run to the post office, put an envelope, stamps on it and everything like that. But it's one of those things that, emails and social media is good too. I get a lot that way, but I think the hard copy is something that people get in the mail and they have to decide it. Oh, gee, that's a pretty good friend of mine. Do I throw this away or do I sit on it for a while?
It's a little bit easier to ignore social media.
Yeah, it's very easy to ignore social media and emails, but it's not so easy to ignore a hard copy. So that's always my first. I only do one a year, just one hard copy a year. And then I'll do emails once a month or whatever. And then Facebook, maybe once a week or something like that. Okay. So here's what could happen if the weather's not cooperating. We could get to Kathmandu and Bishwas could tell us that, the weather forecast is terrible tomorrow and we won't be able to fly in. So then you're faced with the dilemma. Do you delay or do you get a chopper? But even choppers can be shut down. But a chopper can hold 4 people and it's $2,000. So that's $500 a person. So that's why I'm telling everybody, I think I said in the email, I would bring at least $1,000 in cash on the trip. However, most of these chopper companies will take a credit card too. So, but have the ability to be able to have an extra 1,000 in cash or just spending power, I should say. The other things your cash will go to are tips And I'll give some advisement on that. I can't remember what we did in 2019, how much we each gave. It might have been on the order of a couple $100 that we each contributed, and then the guides split it up. And then they decide how much to give to which is what we do at Kilimanjaro. I always give all the money to the lead guide, and he distributes it among all the other guides and the porters and the cooks and the camp hosts and everything like that. So we'll come up with a number probably on the order of $200, I would think. And then they'll figure out how to distribute it. So that's one reason for sure to have cash. And then the other two reasons are you can buy Wi-Fi in these tea houses. And so it's not that expensive, but still, maybe have $50 for that for the course of the trip. You can also buy hot showers, at least at the lower elevations. Time you get up pretty high, I think they just give you a bucket of cold water. So, I mean, it's not that I bring, baby wipes for the last couple of nights. So you can buy some showers, some hot showers. You can buy Wi-Fi, also electricity. So the lower tea houses, you literally can just plug into the wall. So make sure you have one of those universal adapters. I know we've talked about that. Like this one, pretty much can be used in any country. And I remember the tea houses when I went last year that literally you could plug in and then put your battery pack in there. Or even directly charge your iPhone if that's what you have, or Samsung. But as you get higher, you're not going to have that option, and you're going to want to give this to the proprietor as a charge up for you. So then you can take it back to your room and charge your phone up. So I'm pretty sure I'm just taking my iPhone. I might take my DSLR for some night shots. I got some incredible night shots this year in Kilimanjaro. So it's like, wait till you see my email. I'm working on it, and it's going to be part 2 of the whole trip that I just did. But it's one of them was jaw-dropping Milky Way shot, and it was 30-second time lapse on my DSLR, and it came out fantastic.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
I also am going to bring a DSLR.
Good.
But I envision that being my camera of choice for the 10 days. And this is a question to all of you guys. It's a pain in the butt to have that strap over you.
Oh, yeah.
Getting in trouble or trying to get in the back. Does anybody have a good recommendation of a way to have the camera nearby while you've got a backpack on that you can get to it easily and then take that photo before the yak gets away?
Yeah. I've got a vest that I bought, and it's got a hook on it. And you just basically, there's an attachment that goes on the bottom of the DSLR, and I'll bring it down before you leave. I'll show you what it looks like. There's plenty of time to get one.
Yeah.
And then you basically and then your camera's hanging on you, and it's a vest, and you put your backpack on. So it doesn't get in the way of anything. The videographer that went with us in Kilimanjaro this year had something else that literally clipped to his backpack strap.
Right.
And then you put the camera on there, and the camera was just kind of sitting here. I kind of like the vest thing a little better because it's in the middle and it's balanced. And he said after a while his arm would get tired on that side, but you could always take it off and put it to this side and go back and forth if you wanted to. But that was kind of, and then he had a little bracelet thing that it was attached to, or when you took it off, you attached it to the bracelet so that if you accidentally drop it, it's hanging in the air. It's not going to hit the ground. So, but I'll go upstairs and get that other thing at the end and show you what that's like. I've used that on Kili a number of times. So I don't know that I'll carry it with me. I may put it in my duffel bag and let them carry it, because I'm just thinking of using it for night time-lapse stuff that that people love. Okay, so I talked a little bit about cash. I talked to Bishwa about the visa process. It wasn't like it was last year because of COVID and everything. It's a lot easier. We'll literally get the visa at the airport when we arrive. Okay. Remember the medications, I think you have a list somewhere. It might be on the equipment list. I can't remember when we talked about that, if it actually got on this list or not.
Yes, down,
There it is. Yeah. Under prescription medicine, Diamox, Zofran, Z-Pak, Cipro, Flagyl, amoxicillin. I mean, I'm going to have all that with me. And I'm probably going to take the Diamox right off the bat because we're flying into 9,000 feet. I did take the Diamox in Colorado, and I don't know if my headache was caused by the UTI I ended up with, or was it actually caused by elevation? I don't know, but it's almost like I didn't even listen to my own medicine. Like I should have flown up to Denver like the day before and just stayed with some friends and then drive up. But I just went all the way to 10,280 feet from sea level in one day, you know. Not smart. I mean, I know better, right? But you start thinking that you're invincible and you're not. Okay, so the visa process, you know, it'll be a little confusing at the airport. It always is, but we managed to get them. Medications is the Zofran is for nauseousness. The Diamox is for headaches. So we met a guy that was coming down from Kilimanjaro this year, last day near the end. And all of a sudden I hear some ruckus behind me, and there's 4 Tanzanians holding a stretcher with a guy on it. And his head is just like bouncing up and down like this on this stretcher. And and so he passes me, they pass me, and I get to the end and I meet him. And he said, I think I've got like 1,000 concussions in my head. I mean, it was just bouncing the whole way down. And he got really nauseous and throwing up. And he told me he took Diamox. I said, well, you know, that isn't for nauseousness. Diamox is for headaches. Zofran is for nauseousness. So he was taking the wrong medicine. And I gave him my card. I said, try it again next year with us. You know, I'll make sure you get to the job. You never know, right? He's doing it with his son. So he just felt horrible that he couldn't finish. On COVID, if you have the vaccine, that's all you need. But if you don't, you're going to have a negative PCR test before you go. That has,
Meaning that if we got the vaccine, we don't have to be tested.
no, you don't. So I'm not going to get tested.
Any vaccine. I mean, you don't have to have like the booster or that they just came out with.
No, so all you need is the 2 original vaccines, number 1 and number 2, and that's it. Now, if something changes, Beachwell contacts me, I'll let you know right away, but I have a feeling things are just going to get looser and looser over time. 2021, you had to have the vaccine to go to Nepal, and that's why Jason ended up not being able to go at the last minute. He finds out that the day we're going to fly, he gets this information. Not good. Hopefully, I said here in my email, 2023 COVID will be a nightmare that we don't even, did that actually happen? You know, I hope. So I think that's it, other than questions you guys may have.
I'm going to get on to one of Dave's questions.
Okay.
Which was hiking for 3 or 4 hours or 5 or 6 hours or 7 hours. And I have your pace question too. And I remember a vague comment from reading 1 or 2, which was, yeah, you can expect me doing 15,000 to 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Okay. So now then, when I'm training and I'm walking for an hour and a half, I'm doing 7,000 or 8,000 steps. I'm going, I can do 15,000 steps in 2 hours, and yet we're saying we're going to be doing this in 6 hours. So I'm trying to rack my mind. Oh, but that's also pace.
You
right?
got
1 mile an hour.
You got elevation and you have slope, right? That's
Well, I understand it's gonna be hard, but
it's gonna slow you down.
So, well, slow. Does that mean that we're back and forth and we're really, well, no, it's still 20,000 steps is 20,000 steps.
Yeah.
And so what we could do to here in 2 hours, we're gonna do there in 6 hours.
I mean, I can do a 4 mile an hour pace out here in my neighborhood if I
Right.
want, but I'm only going to do a mile an hour up there probably.
Okay, That's
Yeah.
what that.
One
Yeah,
mile
yeah,
an
yeah.
hour.
Yeah, you're going to go a lot slower.
And you're right, here my pace is.
Well, you're gonna
3,
stop and take-
3.5.
You know, you're going to have some fantastic views. You want to stop, take pictures. I mean, all that factors into like, you're just not going to go very fast.
What is, now,
Second
it
air to
goes
a
from
conference.
8,700 to 9,700 in one day. That's the net difference. Is a lot of up and
Oh yeah,
down.
there's some up and down in there. The first day, there's going to be definitely some, even though it says 9186 to 87, there's still some up in there. Okay, but the net is almost 500 feet down is the net. So, and then we'll get there. We'll probably get there by lunchtime. Well, wait a second now. So we're flying in. No, we might actually get to Fucking by lunchtime. And so we'll have the whole afternoon to continue to get over jet lag if we have any remaining jet lag. But again, I would bring Ambien if you can, just to get your clock correct over there quicker.
Do you take Diamox twice a day or once a day?
Well, I think what I'm gonna do is I got the 250s and you can break them in half. I'm gonna take a half of one in the morning and a half of one at night. So maybe maybe 7 a.m. and dinner time, right? So as kind of a precaution. Now, if you start having symptoms, you can jump up to 250 twice a day.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take 125 just to be safe, to start. I don't want to start off with a headache.
How much water do you personally carry with you? I mean,
Well,
a pint?
You know what? A pint?
Pint?
No. No, I'll have a 3-liter Camelback, but I don't necessarily fill it. I'll probably have 2 liters in it, because there's always going to be, like, when we get to like a lunch stop or something like that, you can just tell them I need another liter of water, and then you put it in there. So instead of carrying 3 liters of water, because I'm not going to drink 3 liters of water in 3 hours, maybe 3 liters of water for the whole day, or, then there's soups, at the tea houses. So there's other ways of getting fluid, tea and coffee and soups. I always do the same thing on Kilimanjaro. I don't, they say 3 to 5 liters of water a day. Well, a liter of that could easily be soups and teas and coffees and stuff like that.
When we were in Africa, we were pretty much told, do not drink anything that comes out of a bottle.
Yeah.
Right. Because,
Yeah.
And I ended up on the end having some lettuce that was washed in local
Yeah.
water that got me, right?
Yeah.
Are we having to be that careful in Nepal?
I don't think so. I mean, we're getting bottled water.
Oh, and so we'll only be drinking bottled
We'll only be drinking bottled water. And then when it comes to tea and stuff like that, they've boiled it. I mean, they're probably using bottled water, and they're boiling it and making it hot for us to drink.
Nobody's had problems other than, okay.
No. Now, I had a problem last year at the very beginning. And I think I was the only person in that tea house. Remember, this is like COVID city, COVID time, right? And I think the food was old. I think it got spoiled. I didn't know it when I ate it, but then I got sick the next day. And so I'm going to be a little extra careful about that sort of thing. But I think because there were no clients, I was the only one there, that food probably had gone bad. But I didn't have that problem the first year when there was tons of people going through
What
it.
are the latrine rules? I mean, in Aconcagua, you had to carry your food with you.
No. You're in tea houses. They have toilets inside.
Okay.
Yeah. And sinks to wash, brush your teeth, stuff like that. It's definitely higher end than Kili,
Or Aconcagua.
or definitely higher end than Aconcagua. That's super remote compared to this.
Okay.
I mean, there's villages all the way up, the little population centers that we're going to be staying at.
What do they do other than tourists when it's that season? But what keeps the village alive?
I don't know. Maybe they get enough during part of the year to save to keep them through. It's a good question. That's a good question you could ask over there. I'd like to know the answer to that myself. What other questions? Terry? You guys all have the equipment list and
Strong winds, are there any cases where you have strong winds on any one day?
haven't experienced that.
Okay.
I mean, you know how the weather is though. It's you never know.
Never know.
Is there like a particular dish that you can expect to have offered to you at every?
There's going to be a menu, and you pick what you want off of it. It's not like,
Gail and 9% that ate a lot of spaghetti. I was like, really?
what'd you say?
But Gail and 9% that ate a lot of spaghetti.
Well, that's probably what they wanted.
No, I was just surprised that that was something that was offered.
Oh yeah, and all kinds of lentil stuff and rice and
That's what
yeah.
that's like a special-
I'll probably be eating a lot of rice and lentils. I love that, and a little spice on it.
And the vegetables that they serve with it, are they cooked, or you just cook them with this?
I'm not a big vegetable hound. I don't remember the vegetables that much, but I know they offer them. I know that I just don't usually eat vegetables that much. But this, I mean, some of these have huge menus. I mean, you're not gonna even know what to order. It's so overwhelming.
Should we bring our own air pad?
No,
They
you're
bring-
gonna,
they-
you're gonna be on a bed
oh,
in a room
oh,
with a mattress, a pillow, and a giant blanket.
okay.
So don't worry about any of that.
A pillow or 2 pillows, just remember.
Well, one per person. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I think there's just one
Okay.
per bed. There'll be 2 single beds. I mean, most rooms are a bed on this side, a bed on this side. Now, I think we had to, in 2019, I think we had 3 ladies that wanted to stay together, so they had a bigger room there with like 3 beds or something, but most of the time it's just 2 beds.
Did you buy those there and bring them back, or did you buy them?
I bought them there and it rolled, and then I brought them back and had them mounted. Yeah, we should look at those.
Yeah, I can see walking out with something like that. That's gonna be very unique.
Yeah. So this is Nuptse. We'll see Nuptse certainly the night before we get to Gorp Shep. We'll get a different view of it. Obviously, we're like over here somewhere, but it's incredible that mountain. I mean, I got I may have shown you that picture before. I'll just pull it up here real quick, but it's go to my albums, 2019, Everest Base Camp. I mean, I put this thing on Facebook and it got like, it's just a picture of a mountain. It got like almost 300 likes. That's how beautiful this thing was. Find it, I'm almost there.
Oh, look at this. This is me following it.
What? Oh, yeah, but it has a date though. Does it have a date? Oh, you know, we could use that one. It
Yeah.
doesn't have a date. Okay, I'll find that.
Great, thank
I'll
you.
find that for you.
Well,
Oh,
the
wait,
logo
wait.
has the Everest Base Camp on it. I don't know.
Well, that's what we're doing,
Wait, it
right?
does?
It does have the feet on it.
For what?
No, Everest 17 now. Well, no, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect right there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that'll work.
That's perfect for what?
Yeah.
I was putting together some paper, some mail to send out.
She didn't want to have Kilimanjaro
Yeah, I
on the
didn't,
logo.
yeah, I said Kilimanjaro.
Yeah. Send me a text or something reminder, okay? And I'll find it and I'll send it to you. Anyway, Nuptse, get a good view of that from the next to the last night. Yeah, I mean, that's.
Yeah, you showed me that one. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm planning on bringing a camera to get those. and-
That's Nuptse,
Beautiful.
25,000 foot mountain.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah. That's I think that's my favorite picture from that whole trip. And so yeah, Everest will look like that if we get to go to Kalapatar, you know. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you.
What's the reason for it? to be
So
that
this is
color?
my sleeping bag that I was telling you about. Day pack, if anybody wants to look at any of this stuff one more time. My 3-liter Camelback, which I'll probably only have 2 liters at most in there. There might be some exceptions to that. So last year, when Jason was gonna go, he told me about getting these down booties. And for inside the tea house, you have to take your boots off and clean up a little bit. These are so nice and warm walking around in the tea house. So I met with him the other day and he's always giving me these little gifts. I don't know, he must like me or something, I don't know. But this is really cool. It's a light bar as opposed to so I'm definitely gonna bring this. It takes 3 AAA batteries in here. And it gives you, instead of a spotlight, it gives you more of a, I mean, look at how bright this thing is.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Do we do some night?
We'll call it Batar. After we go up to see the sunset on Everest, on Everest, we're gonna be
Okay.
walking down at night. So it's on the equipment list, David. I mean, not this in particular, but there should be, you know, spotlight or headlamp. Okay. But it's got 3 different settings and then you just hold it and it turns it off. So I wanted to show you that. I've never used one of those things. I've never heard of it. So as far as traveling to Nepal, I'm going to be using this and 1 suitcase just to make sure I have enough, you know, extra clothes and everything that I'll leave at the. But this is what I'm going to give to the porter, full of my stuff, and I'm going to have in there all of our banners. So these are our banners, and one night along the trip, so we've got the main banner, of course, that has all of our community partners on there. But then for each of these community partners, I also have individual paper ones. And you know, maybe you don't, but you know for sure that because you signed it in Peru. Remember, we signed all those banners. So I want everybody's name
We
on.
did that in Africa one year.
And we do it in Africa every year, right? So, and then we're gonna take pictures, not just of the group with this, but maybe we'll get 2 or 3 people to hold each of these 12 paper banners in there at Everest Base Camp. So we'll be spending a little time there taking some photography, but I'll bring them let's not worry about signing them now. I'll bring them on the trip, and one day we'll just spread them all out in the tea house. One evening, I'll have Sharpies, and those who have not signed it from a previous trip this year can sign it. So that'll be in my duffel bag.
Now, on Aconcagua, we were told that our duffel bags could not have wheels on. Now, is that the case here? Or can we have wheels on?
Well, I mean, you still have the one without the wheels?
I do, but I mean, it's cumbersome.
Yeah.
Because
I think it needs to be something soft.
I've got a soft
if it
without
has-
wheels, and I put it inside my big one with wheels as I'm traveling to the airport. And then when I get to the hotel and I'm unloading my hiking stuff from my Istanbul non-mountain stuff.
Are you going business class?
Yes.
You'll be able to take 2 giant suitcases. Just
Right.
put your soft duffel, roll it up to as tight as you can, and put it in one of your suitcases. Then you don't have to worry about how cumbersome it is. Right? Okay.
So you say you're bringing that in a suitcase?
And a suitcase, and then I'll have my day pack as my personal item, and I'll have a small carry-on.
And your day pack is the same pack that yours, your day pack that you're going up the mountain in, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then what are you keeping in your suitcase? What are you bringing in your suitcase and leaving at Kathmandu?
Changes of clothes, if I'm gonna be in Kathmandu for 2 days, underwear, socks, extra pair of shoes. I don't want to wear my down booties or my boots, so I'll have extra shoes for that.
For the
Kathmandu.
2 days?
Yeah, yeah.
It's your Kathmandu clothes, Kathmandu clothes,
Yeah.
essentially.
Then I'll have room in there for souvenirs too, if I want to buy something, bring it back.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk about this photo and tell me everything that's in this picture, because I'm a visual person.
That's me.
I know that's you, and
He's
I
got a
figured out that
sign.
this is your banner. So I'm trying to figure out what all these little gadgets are you have hanging on your backpack.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, that banner, and this is just sanitizer,
Okay.
hand sanitizer. You open it up and squeeze it. That's a Garmin, which
We don't need that.
Yeah, no, you don't need that, right? No. It's almost not even needed on this trip since we have Wi-Fi most of the way. Now, when I went 2021, the last 2 or 3 nights, the Wi-Fi wasn't working in the country, I think. So that's just a fanny pack right there.
I'm glad I saw that, because I was planning on doing my day pack with the fanny pack as well.
Fanny pack's a good idea. You put snacks in there, you put your cell phone in there. Though I usually put my cell phone in. I'll probably be wearing these shorts the first 3 days. Just to let you know. I think that's all that's on there. I mean, I've got my outfit, my clothes, and then my hat. Jason Shepard took that picture, by the way. When we were coming down.
He's famous.
Your trekking poles, do you use rubber grips or cork grips?
I have cork grips, but it doesn't matter. Whatever's comfortable for you. Do you have one?
Yeah, well, I have some, but they.
You want me to go get mine?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go get mine, and I'm gonna bring down that vest
Yeah.
too. Right there.
I'm glad you asked about that suitcase or something myself. Wondered.
What?
Asking about what were we gonna be leaving in Kathmandu?
Yeah.
So I kept thinking,
What-
Well, travel, whatever you want to ride in the airplane with, some people like warm up suit or whatever in the airplane for a long ride. Can't do close.
Yeah,
And my daughter and I are spending the next 3 days.
so it's your
so
Istanbul
you
clothes for
definitely would
you,
need something extra.
right, particularly. One of the other things that I was guessing, or I think you made an idea in the previous meeting was, that's a big cavernous space.
This?
And so you use lots of Ziploc bags to
Yeah.
organize your duffel bag.
Yeah, I do.
You just keep things in separate Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
There's 15 Ziploc bags.
Yeah, I have like one for my smart wool socks, one smaller one for the liner socks, underwear, thermals. I mean, not thermals, but my long underwear.
Right.
So yeah, I'll organize things like that, and it keeps it clean. So these are black diamond. These are really nice. They're cork, and you can order them online from REI. You don't even have to go to the store if you don't want
Are
to.
these telescoping or do you have?
Yeah, they're telescopic.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was thinking of.
So this is called a cotton carrier. And, you just put that thing on, and then, you buy the attachment that goes on the bottom of the camera, and then you can Just, so carrier, yeah. So it's really handy because the camera sits right here. And it's easy to just grab it, you know, turn it and pull it off.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fits under this, it doesn't mess with the straps of the.
No, not at all.
they pack.
They put this on first and then you go back. So,
What about battery charging for your phone?
okay, well,
We said,
yeah, I mentioned that.
you talked about plugging in down low and.
Yeah, so in the first couple of nights, usually the electricity is free and you can, you know, get your converter, make sure you have your
Is
converter.
it a voltage converter also?
It's not a volt, no, you don't need to worry about voltage, you're just adapter, it's just an adapter, not a converter, so. And then, you know, charge up your battery pack. And then as you get higher, there's no free electricity, you'll have to give this to them. And they'll charge it up for you, that's why you want to have some cash and pay them for that. Kind of like Aconcagua.
I didn't use that, only once or twice did I charge my phone all week until the car.
Well, you know, I have found that if you keep it in airplane mode, it just doesn't use up much charge.
Your
The other
phone.
deal is don't put it on the wall, while we're being in the tea house, we'll be putting it up against the wall of the tent, while the reason the battery went down. one night.
Oh, yeah, that won't be too much of a problem here, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just bring some battery packs, just like we did for Aconcagua.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it should be on the list also. Think what else?
Have any of you guys done Everest before? Okay, so the only experience Everest out around Mike and Jason, right?
Jason and Gail and Mike Clearman.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have 4 of us that have been on it. And I mean, that just gives you an idea. The first time I was thinking about doing Everest Base Camp, I was at a conference in North Carolina. It was called WASH, and it has to do with water and sanitation and stuff like that. And I met a guy, I had a booth, and I met a guy and I said, you know, I was thinking about doing Everest Base Camp. And he said, oh man, he said, if I could do Everest Base Camp every year, I would. He just loves it that much. The beauty of it is so intense. So, and here now Jason's going back. He wanted to go last year. Like I said, he couldn't. Gail and Mike are going back. I mean, I'm hoping eventually there's somebody that, you know, goes on that trip that says, hey, Mike, I'll take that over for you from when you're ready. And that way I don't have to, I may still go, but I don't have to organize it, keep spending a lot. It's a lot of time to recruit and have meetings and fundraise and train, you know, it's like, it's constantly, and the more trips you have, the worse it is, because you're, you know, trying to make sure everybody knows what they need to know, you know, for each trip, and they don't want to let anything fall through the cracks. I guess this thing's still recording. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns?
I'm just trying to remember, I think you said we're limited to 30 pounds for on the mountain.
Yeah, you know, you can probably get away with a little more. Same thing with Killy. They say 35 pounds. And if you're doing 37, 38, they're not gonna. And you're gonna see some Sherpas. Well, they're not really Sherpa. They're porters also. Sherpas are actually, I got a good definition of a Sherpa last year. Sherpa actually is ahead of everybody, including the guide and including the porters. The porters really just carry stuff. Sherpas are the ones that go up Everest and are making sure there's actually a path through the ice. And they're like the elite. And so when I say Sherpa, that was really a mistake. So the porters, some of the people, so there's constant people going up and down this trail. And there's yaks and there's horses and everything. And but occasionally you see people carrying what looks like to be 200 pounds on their back. I mean, there was a guy carrying wood last year that was just, I mean, there were like 2x4s, but there might have been 20 of them on his back. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. They're so strong. And they've, you know, been doing this all their lives, I guess, and they just have so I don't think 35 pounds is much of anything. So, you know, try to pack as light as you can, but don't leave anything out that you're worried about. Don't say, oh, I just wish I would have brought that. No, just bring it.
Because if nothing else, you're gonna leave Kevin.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
If Mike lets you go, no, you don't need the hair dryer.
Yeah.
Okay, leave that.
I can't bring it anyway. We'll work with that. It says that I can't use it with my, battery pack thing. Like it won't support a hair dryer.
Yeah.
Charger, that's what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. Yeah, you probably don't need to bring a hairdryer.
Yeah.
I'd recommend against it.
Another band.
We're gonna rough it.
So, yeah, I'll make.
We're gonna rough it, but just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Well, my family is like so concerned I'm gonna die.
No, you're
I mean,
not.
like.
You will.
But not on this trip.
Yeah, but not on this trip.
Yeah.
We all will
Yeah.
eventually.
That's predetermined,
Yeah,
right?
that's pretty terrible.
Yeah,
And I keep trying to explain to them that it's not going to be that dire, so what else can I tell them?
The phrase I've been going is, let's say, okay, I'm doing a ministry trip to Everest Base Camp, but don't worry about it. I am stopping where everybody else starts. Because at the end of my hike.
yeah, that's true.
Is where the other people are starting. to do
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Not that.
Yeah, it was, see, Jennifer told me early on in our marriage, or maybe even before we got married, she said, Mike, no motorcycles and no Everest, you know? Okay, fine. And then when I told her one day I was gonna do Everest base camp, she freaked out because she thought, oh, it's just like the little base camp just before you go to the top. No, it's 12,000 feet below the top of Everest. I mean, it's like a whole nother mountain above it, you know? So no, it's also, you know, and I've had other people with the same thing. I remember Kelsey at Southwestern Energy. So she really wanted to go to Kilimanjaro bad, and her parents wouldn't have anything of it. But she came back.
This is an adult.
This is an adult, yeah. I know.
Don't get me started.
You good answer though.
Yeah.
I have an opinion, but my kids get to vote now that they're self-supporting adults.
Yeah. But anyways, but she went on the trip, and she was so impacted by it, you know, especially of course, Kili was incredible and the safari was incredible, but the Malawi part, you know, and seeing how people live and what we're trying to do all here, right? And she came back like a changed person. Her parents just came up to me. So I got invited to speak at her wedding, the reception dinner. And so, or not speak, but just say the prayer. And then after that, they came up to me and said, boy, we're sure glad you took Kelsey to Africa. I mean, they were just like totally the opposite of what their fears were.
So I
And
was
so,
gonna make a women on the trail comment, and you can ignore this or think bad things about her, but there are two distinctive groups. I've been on a couple of Mike's trips. There's a group that doesn't come out of the tent in the morning until the hair and makeup is all done. And there's a group that says, we're hiking out in the middle of nowhere, just put it in a ponytail and go.
yeah,
I go for
Or
number
the
two.
second group, because when I go to the gym in the mornings, we have both kinds. in the
Yeah,
gym.
so it's the same thing. So my daughter will be with.
Yeah,
me.
don't-
She just,
don't worry about any of that
No,
stuff.
no.
Please.
I won't.
Yeah, good.
I'm way too
No,
old.
but you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be with experienced guides and a whole group of people, and we're gonna have a lot of
I mean,
fun.
they think I'm gonna be hauling oxygen. I'm like, no, I won't need oxygen.
No.
Another way that I thought about it was, and for general, the guys that are climbing Everest, right? They're taking helicopters up to base camp.
Probably, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they are doing their acclimation and they're doing their starting and they're doing that whole process. We're just happen to catch the round trip back of those copters going down.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we are stopping where everybody else starts.
Yeah.
I've heard that Everest is a 50-day event.
I can believe that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a 50-day event. It's like, yeah, and they hike in where we're hiking. That's part of
Oh,
the
do they?
process.
Okay.
Yes,
No, they probably do hike some of that, yeah, to get acclimated.
yeah, because it's a 50-day process from what I've read. You know, there's 2 or 3
Yeah.
days to get there. and then
You
hike
know,
it.
I read one time that it's $60,000 to $100,000, and I stopped reading at that point. So I don't know anything more than that.
Yeah,
I thought, do I want to pay $100,000 to be buried in ice on the mountain? I mean, that might be a nice way to go. I don't know. I mean, it's like, that's an expensive funeral.
Oh, they know where you are.
It's less than a wedding.
Yeah, probably true nowadays,
Yeah,
man.
No, we're
That's-
pulling it off for 40 minutes. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that.
That's, I mean, the cake costs $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I mean, it's insane what these.
Get
weddings
ready,
cost.
start saving your money. It's your daughter's.
Well,
It's
no,
your daughter
how
that's
big
getting
the cake
married.
was.
no, do what we did. We just said, look, here's 25 grand or whatever.
Yeah.
it was. Buy a house, have a big wedding, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
We did the same, we're in the middle of the same thing. She's getting married in January, so yeah.
You mentioned ice earlier. Are we anticipating any?
Very, very little. At Everest Base Camp, there was a couple little nooks in the shade where you could, touch ice and stuff like that. And we'll be hiking along a glacier, actually.
The reason I'm asking,
So, like,
originally when I was gonna do.
This is all ice. This is all giant
Okay,
glacier here, but we're hiking on the edge of it, though. We're not gonna actually be hiking on it with like crampons and all that kind of stuff. And as you can see lower down, you don't see any of that. There's hardly any evidence of ice at all. And I was trying to figure, so I know we're in Dingboche, so this is a totally different view, and I'm always trying to figure out, Amadablin will go by it. See, this is a view from like the other side that I'm normally. I think we're coming from over here, and then Gorup Shep is around this corner, I think, or it's this way. Maybe it's this way. Gorup Shep is either over here or over here. This is kind of confusing to me, but Namche Bazaar will be spending a night there. So somehow or another, we have to get from here over to here. That may be the trail right there. But I don't see any other names on this picture that are towns that we're going through. So that's why this was a little confusing to me.
What's the next one?
This one is, okay, so Dingboche, we definitely, okay, and then here's the acclimatization hike going up towards that place right there, and then we come back down, and the next day we go to Loboche. Yeah, so so somehow we get to Dingboche from somewhere over here. We go by Amadablin, spectacular mountain. Look at these snowfalls and the glaciers coming down here. But we Dingboche, and then we do that acclimatization hike, come back here, go to Loboche right there. And Everest is just that little tiny thing right there sticking up behind Dingboche. But when we get around the corner, then we eventually end up at Gorup Shep. It's around the corner, you can't see here. So, and then this one is actually similar. No, this one and the one with the sunset are almost identical views, but one's later. You can see I think that's probably from almost the same spot that picture was taken. And then this one, there's Amadablin again. You'll see that for several days. And again, I don't see any names that I recognize until you get to Gorup Shep up there. So anyway, these are some of the amazing mountains you're going to see. It's going to be incredible.
Where did you take those to get mounted?
FedEx.
Really?
Yeah.
That's simple. Okay.
Yeah, right there at Lake Woodlands.
Awesome. Because those look great.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hung with some of those.
Okay, yeah, we should be able to get those for sure.
Those are beautiful, they really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wish I had a bigger house to put everything up, but I don't.
Or you can stop traveling.
Yeah, stop traveling. I mean, when you see stuff like that, it's like, I got to take that with me. I can't leave that. Thanks, Terry, for that. Any other questions or thoughts? So we talked about Diamox. We talked a little about what gear to bring.
I do have a quick question about the Diamox.
Yep.
You said you're going to start preventatively taking Diamox, which is the headache one.
Yep, the headache one.
You're not going to preventatively take the nauseous one?
Okay, let me tell you about the nauseous one. Also, I don't know if it's on the list. Write this down. Tums. Take 2 Tums in the morning every day, and it's been found in Colorado to prevent nauseousness on hikes. Huh?
It does work.
Yeah, take 2 Tums.
It's for your headaches.
2 Tums every morning.
He doesn't take that.
when I went to Passport Health, she also gave me something to take for my stomach. She said, eat before every meal, 30 minutes before every meal.
You take what?
I
What?
don't know, I can't remember what it's called.
Let me know what it is.
Yeah.
Text me when you remind me to send you that logo.
That's Zofran, it works fast.
So that's not, we don't have to do that.
No, that's only going to be if you start getting nauseous. I don't ever take that unless I get nauseous.
You know, my primary care physician would not write me a prescription for anything. I had to get the ER doctor who lives next door to my son to write me a prescription.
Some doctors are like that. So my doctor, I've been seeing for like 15 or 20 years, and he knows I do this every year. I go in to see him before these trips, and he goes, you want the usual? You know, he has a list of everything that he always gives me, so I don't have to worry about it. You know, I mean, if you start doing more of these trips, they might get to the point where they'll say, okay, I'll give it to you.
Did you have a passport now?
I did, that's where I got my vaccines.
Yeah.
And she wrote me a prescription for that.
So which vaccine did you get there? You talking about COVID?
Typhoid there, and I was able to get everything else.
Okay.
In my physician's office.
Okay.
Is anybody else doing typhoid?
Well, I got it for Killy.
Right.
And so
She recommended
I would
that
check
way.
check the CDC site or talk to your doctor and ask if they recommended for,
Yeah, it's on the margin.
it was iffy. Yeah.
So I just didn't, I want to know who else was doing typhoid. You didn't.
I did, it was the easiest one of all.
Yeah.
I had tetanus,
I wouldn't,
that.
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to get it,
Get some happy-
just to be safe.
What are happy pills?
I don't know, just get some happy.
Well, so you get your typhoid shot, then next year you'll be all set for Kilimanjaro.
I am not doing.
Why not?
Look, you get your camp outside.
It's only 2,000 feet higher.
Because for all the 3 meetings you had, people are repeatedly going to Everest and they are not repeatedly going to kill it. So
Wait, I go every year.
Others.
I did kill it twice.
He's done it twice.
Are you doing it again?
Yeah, but you get to go, you go to Milan.
Yeah.
And Tanzania.
Okay.
That's the big.
Well,
one.
but that's why you want to do it at least once.
Yeah, Mike, I want you to plan one in New Zealand. That's
Oh,
all.
Okay, wait. When at this point in my life, when I get suggestions like that, I say, please plan it. And I'll go with you.
Mount Hood, down South Island.
New Zealand is, that's where they filmed
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Hobbit.
That's where they filmed. Did they
Probably.
do Jurassic Park there? I think. they-
No.
No,
They did
that's
that
mine.
out
That was
in Hawaii.
Hawaii.
They did Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
But it is Jurassic Park looking. I mean, it really is.
also,
It's
you know,
outrageous.
there was another one that somebody wanted to do. I said, yeah, go for it and I'll go with you, but I'm not gonna organize another one. But I know Roger Kubley wants to do a trip to Israel, a hiking trip in Israel. And I thought, go for it, man. Do all the research, figure out what it's gonna cost, let me know. And
Hikes.
apparently there are. They may be more like treks at kind of low. I mean, there's no really high elevation. And there's not gonna be any high thing there, but it'd be kind of cool to hike in Israel, I
I
think.
tell you, the desert, the southern desert in Israel, it'll knock your socks off. I
Yeah.
mean, here you are, you're
It's
in the
pretty, there's
desert.
somewhere where you do mountains.
Maybe better go in the winter, huh?
Yeah, you don't go in the summer. You don't go in the summer. But the Dolomites are fabulous.
Yeah.
Where are those?
It's in northeastern Italy. They look jagged like this, but it's low elevation.
Yeah. You don't go to the top of them though, right? You're just hiking right
No, you
by
walk
'em.
through
But anyway, write down Tums. Because I think that'll really help a lot. I learned that from Voice of Wilderness. That's what they start recommending everybody that goes up to Colorado. So. And it's, helped me.
HAPPY, write that down.
Happy pills, whatever those are.
We cheat on coca leaves in Aconcagua.
No, Peru. Did you do a Aconcagua too? You're thinking of Machu Picchu.
Yeah, I have got it mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did coca leaves, and it really didn't, I didn't feel any effect, but I
Mhm.
guess it helped us along.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell anything obvious from those leaves. Any other questions, thoughts?
Next time we see each other, we're at the airport.
I think so. Well, I may see you at church now and then.
And we're supposed to wear the white shirts. right?
Yeah. So does everybody have the Clean Water Climb shirt? Write that down. Because,
I gave Meredith hers.
okay.
Mine looks like a dress. It's really good.
What size is it?
I have the smallest one that you have.
The small? Okay, well, sorry.
That's all right.
Never cut my own.
I was surprised it wasn't cotton. It's a really nice color.
Well, we used to do cotton. And in 2018, I said, look, we need to go to polyester so people can use these for working out and advertising.
Yeah, it was good.
I wear cotton socks in my boots. I wear cotton shirts when I climb, and I've had no problem.
Well, you might have the newer fast wicking cotton, but our old Clean Water Climb shirts, I mean, they were just like cotton, and boy, you'd sweat in those things. Not good. So you like the polyester? Yeah, good.
I'm gonna head out.
Okay. Thanks for coming down.
No problem. Got a 4 AM call with some guys overseas. So it'll be short evening.
We'll see you on Everest.
No, you'll see him in the airport,
To the airport.
Bush Intercontinental.
We'll also see you on Everest.
Yeah,
grab some more food or take what you brought or whatever. Get something to drink.
Congratulations on the engagement.
Yeah,
We'll see.
good to see you, man. Long time no see.
Yeah.
I
You
know.
looking for those happy
Don't marry
meals?
love. Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, keep up the good work on the fundraising and everything.
And I'm gonna ask this again when we're in the airport.
Yeah, that's right.
Jim, nice to meet you.
I was thinking I need a name tag.
Yeah, really. Hey, Keith, thanks a lot. Yeah.
That person.
Okay, so if I hit end, Bill, just hit pause, stop recording, right? I mean, do I do it down here or should I do it up? Okay, there's